Blog Talk Radio.
Her Hello, everybody. Greetings. This is Raw But Real's segment of United Hands 613. That was India Ari in strength, courage, and wisdom. It is so good to be here on the night, and I am Kelsey, your host on tonight. And we decided at Raw But Real 613 to design this segment, United Hands 613, in lieu of a video that I posted on Facebook concerning my husband. Now, many of you know that Raw But Real 613, we keep it real always. But this is something a little bit different for us. My husband's video was posted on Facebook about 2 weeks ago. It has definitely gone viral. It is all over the world, not just in this country, but all over. And his video was telling about the injustices of this so-called justice system. My husband has been locked up behind bars for 20 years for crimes that he did not commit, and they could not convict him with any evidence. However, they have him locked up in jail. My husband is presently at Kern Valley State Prison in California, where he is just having his very first parole hearing in 9 days. Now, the thing about that is that after we posted this video on Facebook, we had so many people responding. They were not just sharing the video, but they were sharing their struggle as well. My husband's heart was wrenched when he realized, and I was telling him how many people were going through the same thing that he was going through, and in some situations even worse. We've heard all kinds of stories and people looking for all kinds of assistance. And my husband decided at that point that we needed to create United Hands 613. And the purpose of this show is to be able to unite hands around the world to fight against this injustice of this justice system. It's to be able to unite people together to show that together we are strong and together we can fight if we do it together. Uniting our hands and reaching for the same goals and hoping for the same thing. There are so many people that are locked up in the prisons now that have these sentences that are extreme, that are too extreme for the crimes. We have 14-year-old young men who have been sentenced as adults for things such as robbery, and they're getting 40 years in jail. Can you imagine? 14 years old, your whole life is gone. We go through so many changes between 14 and 20. Then you have men like my husband who is stuck behind bars for a crime that he hasn't committed, and they destroyed his records. On tonight, you're going to hear more of that from our special guest who can tell you a story about her husband who is in jail for a crime that he did not commit. And they know he didn't commit it, but yet they needed somebody else to pin it on. They needed to close the books on this particular crime. This is what United Hands 613 is about. It's about bringing all of us together so we can all find a way to fight for each other. It's not just about one person, but being able to fight for each other, with each other. Now, having said that, thank you for joining in with us on tonight. Thank you. So I want to introduce you to my special guest. And she's going to tell you what she has gone through, what her husband is going through, and what he has been convicted of and how long he's been in prison. My special guest on tonight, we call her Queen Shawnee. Her name is Shanice, and I'd like for you to hear her story. Shawnee, are you there?
Ohio.
Hi,
Hello,
Shawnee. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm Shawnee, and I'm from Dayton, Ohio. And I'm glad to, first thing I'm going to say is I'm glad to have you on the show and be able to tell my story because plenty people do go through these things. Well, first off, my husband, his name is Saquon Dean, and did of a crime, also like your husband, her husband, that he did not commit. And it happened so many years ago, and the law was so different so many years ago they still try to hold guys under that old law. This happened in 1994. My husband was convicted of a crime that he did not commit, which was robbery and murder. He was with a cousin of his. He was a driver. And the cousin went into a place and committed a crime, and he was accessory of this crime. He's been in jail over 25 years. So, mind you, they're supposed to have parole boards and things as such. He had one parole board, and then when he finally got to go to this parole board that he was scheduled for, they committed him of another crime inside the prison. They were saying that he was in a riot, and in that riot he's supposed to have assaulted a CO. And all this time, mind you, I was on the phone with my husband as the riot was going on. So we tried to fight this case and everything before he went to his parole hearing. And when we was trying to get the information from the tape of the phone, they blocked it. They hung up on me. They just took me in circles of this case, and they sent him from a level 1 to a level 4 in high security. And my husband could not contact me. We could not contact him. And they tried to keep everything just out of my reach to get a hold of, to be able to fight this. My thing is this: if it's a new law, I feel like they should be able to get the new rules. But if you was arrested anytime before, like in the old law in 1994 or in the 90s, you have to go to a parole hearing for the parole board to let you out. You don't have an out date. My husband has no out date. On his, when you look him up, it says his parole hearing date, the next parole hearing date he will have for a parole hearing. He do not have an out date. And so I've been fighting with my husband now for the past 7 years, and it's been hard. It's been a real struggle. And when I heard Mr. Anderson's story on the Facebook, it just melted my heart because it was the same exact story, a crime that he did not commit. I couldn't find his information to try to help him fight this. It's just like his story matched my husband's story, so I felt like I needed to say something, reach out to get help. So this whole Adore is a big blessing to me, because to be able to speak out and to be able to reach out to others to hear their story or to hear my story or to get some type of understanding of what's going on, because it's definitely going on all around the world.
It is.
So
it most definitely.
And yes, and it just bothers me that nobody that it wants to help fight this, that knows the law, like lawyers and stuff, all they want is money. And it's very hard out here for us.
It is. It's
Wow.
very difficult. You and I have spoken, and, you were telling me about your husband's story, and it does remind me so much of my husband's story as well. The funny thing is, but not in a ha-ha way, that they did the same thing to my husband. They said that he assaulted a correctional officer. That did not ever happen. And I know that you were telling me that your husband was at a level 1, and then when they accused him of assaulting a correctional officer, they moved him to a level 4. And it's been so difficult at that particular point for him. One of the things I'd like for you to expound on, if it's okay, is you were telling me that you listened to when my husband was saying in his videotape about his records. And tell me what that did for you when you heard him talk about his records.
When he got to talking about his records and how they were destroyed and basically made it feel like he didn't exist anymore and that they was trying to get rid of him, I felt that same way that was happening to my husband, because right before his parole hearing, they charged him with something. Like they was trying to pin something on him because he'd been doing so well through the years he'd been in there. So it's like they tried to pin something on him. So when I heard your husband saying they was destroying records, it popped him instantly, because I never tried to get my husband's records because I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. I probably wouldn't even know what I'm reading. So that just instantly put a light bulb. Oh, my gosh, I need to fight trying to get his records and see if they're doing the same thing to my husband. See, because I don't know if they have his records or if they destroyed them or what they're doing. I know they're hiding the tape of when we were on the phone before he went to his parole hearing. So, and I also need to get that information. So that basically woke me up like, oh, I need to get this information. If nobody's going to fight for him, I have to.
Right.
So that's what that
right.
did for me. It woke me up to be a fighter. I need to fight harder than I was even before.
And that's the thing that we want to be able to do for everybody. I listened to my husband's video a couple of times, and people listen to it, and I'm happy, and I know that he would be excited also because he realized it wasn't just about him, and that was the one thing that really touched me, the fact that it's not just about him, and he knew that, and he felt like we can help so many people once we started reading all the posts and seeing what people were going through. And when you spoke to me and said to me, wow, I didn't think about going to get my husband's records, I'm going to go get his records. And I know that you went down there the other day, so they should be having those records for you tomorrow. Am I correct?
Correct.
That'd be good.
I'm very excited.
Yes. I know that you are. And, one of the things that I found also is that the sticking by them, it's not easy for them. And we're going to make it through this, and this is what this show is all about. Us wives, us sisters, us mothers, joining hands together, brothers, fathers, sons, joining hands together and being able to fight a system that they say can't be fought, but it can. It can. If we stick together and enough of us get together, we can fight this system. We can make them turn around and open up records and open up old cases. And I believe that you were correct when you said something about the fact that when a case is old, that they have to now come up under the new laws. I think I might have my husband's brother might be on the phone who might be able to expound on that. Let's see. Maurice, are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here. How you doing?
Did you hear what Shanice was saying about the fact that the old law versus the new law? Could you maybe give us some light on that?
All right. My first question is where is your husband locked up at?
We is located in Ohio. He's in Warren County. And I also forgot to mention, too, when I was telling that he was tried as an adult when he was 17. I didn't get to mention that part.
Okay, because in different states, they have different laws. And one thing I was telling my sister-in-law is that, like, say, for instance, in California, I'm going to use that, for example, because that's where I was born at. They have all these civil, commercial codes, California criminal codes, and all these various laws. And inside these laws, I remember you were speaking about they have an old law that they had convicted him under. And now with all these new changes of laws that's probably occurred in Ohio around, let's say, for instance, 2011 up to 2018. Now, anytime there's a change in law that changes the degree or the status of his conviction, that new change of law gives him right to file a habeas corpus back inside his superior court. And a lot of dudes that's in prison, they're unaware that, or a lot of times they don't pay close attention to when they go to these law libraries. If they have what's called daily journal, they're like BARs. They're like daily appellate reviews. And what it does is it gives a person that's in prison, when they go to their law library and they get these submissions of they're like new appellate decisions that's just now getting passed down and they're now made public. Well, inside those daily journals, it allows the prisoner to understand new laws that were passed and that applies to them. And if he was convicted in 1994, I can guarantee you, because the law is nothing but an experiment, I can guarantee there's been different changes that has occurred in the law, that certain legislations have passed, certain Senate bills or Assembly bills for which he will qualify for. And 9 times out of 10, I best believe, because it has happened in pretty much a lot of people's cases, a lot of his transcripts, you may not try to get those. I don't know how Ohio is with record retention, if they've been preserving a lot of their documents or have been archiving them inside their certain facilities. A lot of times they're destroying them, after, they may say after 10 years, but they're showing them way before that. So it's going to be hard to get certain transcripts, hard to get certain police reports. And but usually when you ask and they give you a little window and they try to pretend like they don't have the documents because of this excessive amount of time, then a lot of times he has to file a certain petition back to the court. But how can you file a petition if you don't have the records for him to prove his case all over again, which is to open it all up? So it sends you down a world loophole of just all these spirals of laws and then try to time barge you. But he has to figure out ways, whether it's going through certain civil codes, because they have certain mandates, certain core noblesse. Them is terms that they use inside California. I don't know what the wording is inside Ohio, but you have to find the certain loopholes of law. It's not hard, because all you have to do is buy a certain books just dealing with writs and mandates, or certain books just dealing with they got other books dealing with core noblesse, which is the same form of a habeas corpus, just a different document. So if your husband will start getting like certain books, or go to the law library and look up certain elements that's dealing with those type of brackets of law, those law always introduce you to closed doors type of other proceedings that will allow his case to be opened up. Or if there's a new Senate bill that was passed, he can file any time and file back down into the court to get his case reviewed. But it is a sticky situation, but it's not a hopeless situation. And the second part about it, when I was talking to my sister-in-law about, is this fact. What y'all doing right now, bringing this United Hands 613, the more people that we can connect, like, say, for instance, if you know people that does blog, if you know people that does web, it can be just children, like 18, 19 years old, but they have a computer knack of that type with them type of equipment. Bring them aboard. Bring them underneath you. Bring them a part of something, because when they see that there's a bigger movement, and with them being good with the web, they can contribute with blasting out our story, because they already have friend outlets. And the more people that you bring apart, the more scrutiny that you can bring to your husband's case, because the system fears publicity. But when you're able to shine light on what they're doing, then they'll be like, whoa, we need to open up his case, because this movement is getting a lot bigger. And wow, her case just got put right here. And if we start thinking like that, we can start freeing a whole lot of our brothers and sisters.
Amen.
So true. Thank you so much. So true. Please don't go anywhere. We're going to keep you right there. But that's so true. You know, Shanice, I hope that you were able to get some solace from what he was saying, because it's so impactful. You know, it's really all about us getting the information that we need. And sometimes one person don't have it. And just like we just now did, I didn't have the answers, but he had the answers. And that's what United Hands does. We find people who can connect together, and somebody's going to have an answer, or somebody's going to know how to get the answer. You know, it's heartbreaking, you know, when you think about it, because I was listening to what he was saying. I listened to what you said. And when I think about the fact that they know that the people who are locked up in jail and have been there for years fall up under a new law that will give them the right to be free, but they're not going to tell them that. If they don't know to research it, if they don't know to get out there, they just sit there, and this system will let them sit there and take all of their life from them and let them sit there indefinitely, knowing that these are people that should be free. And that's what we find so disgusting about this particular system that's supposed to be justice. It's not justice. And I can only imagine, you know, and not only just imagine, I know, you know, what you're going through, you know, the things that we think about because our husbands are locked up. You were saying that your husband was charged as an adult at 17. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And he was charged as an accessory. So did they charge him as an accessory to murder, knowing that he didn't commit the murder?
Well, the way this happened is neither one of them told who committed the murder, which he regrets doing because, you know, when you're young, a lot of these guys nowadays, which I think is goofy or silly, is, oh, I'm not a snitch. And that's the mentality he had at that age is, oh, I'm not going to snitch on my cousin. So neither one of them told who actually did pull the trigger. He told me as, like, years going on, like, and I wish I would have told at that time that he pulled the trigger. So, yes, they charged both of them with the with that. Yes, they said he was accessory after we go to court after he got went to court and stuff. He starts trying to say, okay, well, I was the driver. He started seeing and he was going to get time. Then he started to try to tell, but it was too late by then.
Right. So is his cousin still in jail as well?
Yes.
Wow.
And what is unfair about that is his cousin had a parole hearing, and his cousin getting out in a few years. And then when he went to my husband went to his parole hearing, with him having this charge about him assaulting a CEO, he ended up getting 8 years, and his cousin get out in 3.
Wow. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a small break right now. Thank you so much, Shanice. Don't go anywhere. We're going to come right back at you. Right now we're going to listen to Peoria Sinner. We'll be right back at you. United Hands 613.
Too much shit going on right now. Way too much. When I speak, it's like y'all don't hear. Why I feel like God don't care. Why I feel like I ain't good as no one else. I'm searching, but my pride ain't there. I just feel like life ain't fair. My boy got shot, died right there. But me, I died twice and came back to life. So tell me, how can I be scared? Why do I gotta doubt myself? All I ever do is doubt myself. Drink liquor to the head, consume it by the pint like I don't care about my health. Really, I'm just trying to numb the pain. Love and hate, it all just feel the same. Won't say I'm affected by the fame, but even my mama know I changed. So I get drunk till I can't feel. The love's fake, the pain's real. Got so many scars that ain't healed, but I got a soul bullets can't kill. Why I feel like cops just wanna pop me. Pops never had a pot to piss and probably pack a 9 on his hip and sit beside me. Pray to God there's no 666 inside me. Now I can't let the devil in my mind. Same time in the church will turn you blind. Last time I heard a preacher preach a sermon, all I heard him say was sinners gonna die, and they would never get to see a heaven. With all due respect, fuck the reverend, cause I know life is doing 25. Praying for early death like it's a blessing. It's for my people going through depression. It's for the kids who never felt affection. It's for the kids who parents don't accept them. They say they love everybody else except them. I know what it's like to feel alone. I know what it's like to need a home. I know what it's like to not know what it's like to have a love you could call your own. See, I done tried every single fucking drug on that shelf. Trust me, man, it don't help. I just feel like I'm losing myself. I just feel like I'm losing myself. Losing myself. I just feel like I'm losing myself. I just feel like I'm losing myself. Losing myself. I just feel like I'm losing myself. Why I feel like love don't last. Things change when you move so fast. I was trying to focus on us in the future, you was focused on my past. If you left, I would lose my soul. Promise me that you won't let go. See, I just need love, it's funny, I got all this money, but my heart's still broke. So many times I said I'ma change, just to turn around and do the same. Same shit that's been putting you in pain. I know I'm the only one to blame, so I get drunk till I can't see. I love you, but I hate me. Trying to be someone I can't be, and I ain't been myself lately. Why I feel I'm the only one that got me. You could take the same 45 that shot me, pop the clip and cock it back and put that motherfucker to my head. You'll never stop me. I be living life on the edge, suicide all in my head. Why the world don't care about no one else's life till they already dead. I just wish my pops was back to how he was, cause he ain't been the same since the drugs, and I ain't been the same since he said the worst form of pain is not being loved. So we use the drugs that they gave to us to replace the love the world takes from us. Lately I don't know who to trust. They said even Satan was an angel once, so I can't feel shit. So numb now I can't feel shit. Living just to die, we dying just to live this life. It doesn't make no sense. own help. I just feel like I'm losing myself. I just feel like I'm losing myself. Losing myself. I just feel like I'm losing myself. I just feel like I'm losing myself. Losing myself. I just feel like I'm losing myself.
That was Furious Sinner. I love this guy's music. His words are so powerful. And this is United Hands 613. And I am your host for tonight. My name is Telsa. And our special guest on tonight is Queen Shawnee. And she was telling us a story about her husband, who is also in prison, and the injustice that he is suffering at the hands of this system that was designed to protect us. And on the line with us as well is my brother-in-law, Maurice, and he's able to give us some insight on some of the things that Shanice is talking about. You know, I want to ask this question, and it's probably a very broad question, and it's going to deal more with our own intellect and what we think and feel. But it seems sort of redundant to deal with the system that we have to deal with, but yet we can't trust. You know, and that, I think, is the irony. That is the painful part, that we cannot function in this world without dealing with what they call the judicial system. However, we have found it so difficult to trust the judicial system. And, Shawnee, I want to ask you, you know, you were saying how your husband, you know, he's in jail. He's been there for a long time. His cousin is in there as well, and we know what he's going through. You know, how is your husband's spirit, you know, his feelings in all of this? I mean, how is he coping? What would you say, you know, that how your husband is coping with all these things that are going on?
He's definitely growing more patiently. He's definitely getting closer to God. When I came around into his life, as I didn't probably mention, I married my husband while he was incarcerated. And we prayed together every day. So his spirit is very uplifted. At first, he was down and out a lot of times, and he had his days. But once I came around and we got to praying together and I came into his life, he did tell me he didn't have no one. His mother is very old. His grandma died. And his family, you know, a lot of family members, I'm not going to say all, sometimes when you're out of sight, out of mind, they don't pay you really no attention or try to fight for you. So I feel like when I came around, both of our spirits was lifted because I was in a down place before I got with him and married him too. So I feel like both our spirits was lifted by God. And now, yes, he's in there more patient and waiting on God. He's put it in all God's hands, and that's what's most important.
That's good. You know, the reason why I'm going to bring Maurice back in is because, you know, I know that my husband, too, like I said, has been incarcerated for a very long time. And I also married my husband while he was incarcerated. And the wonderful thing is when you can say that somebody has changed your life. That's a wonderful thing. So I want to ask Maurice at this particular point, you know, because I know that he's been going through this even longer than I have. So I want to ask him at this particular point about the mindset, you know, the changes. And the reason why I'm asking about the changes, and I'm glad that you said the same thing, is because this system will lock away a 14-year-old and a 17-year-old and keep people in prison for 20 years as if people don't grow and they don't change. Now, I understand that might not be for everybody, but for a lot of people it is. And it seems like it offers no kind of leadway for those who grow and those who make that adult transition, that metamorphosis. So, Maurice, I'm asking you, even when it came down to my husband, your brother, do you see the metamorphosis in him? Do you see the changes in him? And if so, what kind of changes are they?
I'm going to answer that question, but let me say these words of encouragement to you, Queen Shani, if I pronounced your name right. But just like my brother, a lot of times it says in Lamentations that the Heavenly Father normally sets people in isolated places so he can open their minds. And it's a lot of times my brother has even told me on quite a few occasions that he's glad he came to prison, even though it's not something that he wanted. He would not have preferred that type of direction in his life. But sometimes prison has a way of sitting you down and making your mind and opening your mind up to the directions from upstairs, because it means that there's a higher purpose for a person's life, because we don't never know the tomorrows, or what is our purpose, or why we're here, or why we're going through this, or why we're going through that. But somewhere down the line, certain people are picked for certain designated points in their lives for whatever purpose. And sometimes it may come after 18 years or 20 years. And then inside, I remember my brother used to always telling me, it feels like he's internally continually to cry. Inside, everybody's leaving or everybody's doing this. But the one thing he said he always found comfort in was in the fact that the Heavenly Father blessed him with a wife, somebody to share his passion or to share what he's going through. And me being also a spiritual person as well and looking up what's going on in the world scene, it's not ironic for this video to be going as viral as it's going at this designated time, where it's hitting state to state. And if you really look at it from a biblical standpoint, like Deuteronomy, and there was a point where the Father always says that when I see your children, your men, your sons, your daughters into captivity, he always proclaimed at a certain particular time, in which in that time there always came like a shout. There was always like some type of thing that caused like a ruckus, something that was passed, a decree that was came down from upstairs. And the one thing that was ironic about what's going on right now is the fact that not George Bush, but Donald Trump just passed a bill. I don't know if you're aware of it. It's called H.R. 1242, which is in commemoration of the 400 years that the slaves has been in this Pacific nation, and coincided to prophecy, and which was told to Abraham. Now, when looking at everything and looking at the timing, what's going on right now, and looking at the patience that you've been speaking about, what your husband is going through, there's about to be a shakeup. There's about to be a release. Don't nobody know how it's going to occur, but it has to deal with the agitation of its people. And right now, the system as what we know it, the system has made it to where their laws is so stringent to where they make it impossible for a person to get out from underneath these conditions. Your husband having your support, your husband being inside that Bible, you also having also an equivalent of a spiritual mind, seeing what's going on with my brother and then how this thing is going viral in less than 2 weeks, something that I know even he did not anticipate. And then looking at everything as a whole, my only wise suggestion to you, because it's just like what was said earlier, if you really want to help your husband in a very instrumental way, my brother once told me this because he made a suggestion to me, but I didn't really take heed at the time, so I couldn't act on it. He used to always say, why don't you go down to a college for me or a university, somewhere that practice law? Just get one of them young college graduates or university that's trying to practice to become a practitioner of law or a paralegal or somewhere in that degree to where they're trying to learn law, because a lot of people are trying to make names for themselves and they just have a natural knack for law. Go just go to a university or college somewhere that practice law wherever it may be at, and try to befriend one of them, talk to them, try to get to know that person. Like, look, I need your help because I don't know all the languages of law. They may not know everything because that's how the law schools operate. They if they're in the criminal field, they keep them in the criminal fields, but they'll keep them at the lower base of the totem pole to where they only know the base of the minimum. But they have enough knowledge to know how to go and navigate other fields. But it will help you out to be like, okay, what about this? What about that? What about this? Then second of all, once you can find one of them, a little paralegal, somebody practitioner, to be a law, because your husband will be their first subject as to teaching them how to apply certain law in a realistic fashion, besides just learning it academically. So once you can befriend one of them, bring them to the house, study with them, give your husband's case, go over certain case law, and while they're going over with you, in essence, you will be learning also how to be able to navigate the different fields of laws in Ohio. And while y'all looking into that, then your next approach will be go to somewhere. If you got like a family member who got friends that are geeks, I hate saying that word, but are nerds in the field of the social media, and they know how to get and do and make various different forms of platforms of web design. Hit up one of them. Befriend them. This is how you build yourself a small team. While we're trying to build a bigger team. It's like any NAACP, like any ACLU. Everybody started off small. Even Google. Somebody started off inside the basement of their garage. But when they built the right people around them right people is what made their company expand. So we utilize the same type of philosophy, because all these people is inside these schools. They don't got no names yet. Bring them all aboard. Okay, yeah, you web designer. We need you over here. Okay, you over here that does, what do you do? Or you know how to do this type of stuff. Okay, but you see where it is that they can fit into the puzzle. Somebody does magazines, got a magazine, internet magazine company. Bring them in. Anybody does blogs, bring them in. It don't matter if you got 15 people at your house. Then bring them over here. Now, look, we want to connect you to United Hands because it's more bigger. When you connect the situation, when it's from state to state to state to state, and everybody see everybody's hands involved, you create something to where you create the bigger players to be like, now we have to pay attention because you create scrutiny upon their jurisdictional decisions. And this is what will give your husband the means of his release. And this is how all this is going to bring about.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Everything you just said, I took it in. It made a lot of sense, especially with the going to school. I had that idea at one point. It's so funny that you mentioned that, because I had that idea before, but the enemy put in my head, oh, you're not smart enough. You know, I doubted myself. So it's funny that you said it. I'm glad you said, like, get some education about some laws. And another thing that opened my mind when you talked about social media. Like, I'm not really real big on building it, but I know how to do the little different blogs and stuff like that. But so that opened my mind, too. Thanks for those ideas.
Yeah, that's what we all here for. We all here to help one another. And just like your husband, he may have probably already let him know that you'll be on the radio talk show. He just don't know indirectly. His prayers is being answered, and his release will already occur behind it. It's just we still have to play our parts in order to make everything else fit together. And this is all what United Hands is about. And once we post this on YouTube, you're still going to need to share it, because the idea need to get lodged in people's mind, because people right now are being distracted in so many different areas and being done off this quick stuff or just these little quick little dances and whatever else stuff that they doing. But it makes people think, and that's all we're trying to do. We're small now, but if we get the right players involved, and sometimes it may take some footwork on your behalf because you are in Ohio, but you're only one person. So it's like you're just a small raindrop inside that's being dropped inside of a larger bucket. But if you build the right people, you can connect those people to a bigger to another bucket that's over here in California, while we connect another bucket over there in New York, another bucket in New Orleans, or another bucket in Alabama. And pretty soon these buckets, and we all familiar of each other. That way, when we start coming together and putting our minds together, you become a force to reckon with. Long everybody playing a part. It may be right now nobody's getting paid behind it, but we have a goal behind our drive, and our drive is not only just helping our own, but helping those of our next brothers in our system secure their folks or their husbands and their releases. And once you create that, you create a hub where you bring in other paralegals or other attorneys to want to work with us, because then once you start moving, now you become big. Now everybody want to give you money, and then all our work and all our effort, it'll always pay off. But the first person we're going to always give that glory to is to upstairs, because with a right heart and a right mind, he makes sure that everything we do will prosper. So if we keep that in mind, we will all be able to secure the releases of our loved ones.
Amen. One thing I wanted to mention, too, on this show, this is how I know there's no justice and they're out for darkness. It's darkness. The system is darkness. We had an issue in Ohio in two of our prisons, Ross and Charlotte, that it was fentanyl. I know you heard of the drug fentanyl that kills people. It was released inside the vent of two prisons here in Ohio, and there was a lot of inmates, COs, that died and got sick. And that just raises a red flag to me. It brings in my mind, they just trying to kill Lamar because they're filling up just to put more in. That's the first thought that came to my mind. Like, how would fentanyl get inside of a vent of a prison that's locked down and things of that nature? And it just bothers me that nobody did anything about it. That's not going viral. That's not on CNN and things like that. And that's where it opened my eyes to my husband's situation too, that he has to stay focused on God, because it's enemies around him that he thinks is on his side that's basically trying to bring him down. So I do tell him to stay higher lifted and stay in that Bible, because some people that he thinks is his friends, like, that's in there, that's not. So I told him, to stay in your Bible and stay focused, because like you said, the justice, like your husband said in the video, we think they on our side, like case managers and stuff, but they're really not. And I just wanted to let people know that happened here in Ohio, which is crazy. It should be all over CNN.
Let me ask you a question, Shawnee. Did your husband have an attorney at his original trial?
Yes, but it was so long ago. They're retired, and a judge is dead.
Yeah. Because I know a lot of times also that we find that in this judicial system that they give you these lawyers that are court appointed, and they don't really fight for you anyway. And you find out a lot about.
Yeah, one that was appointed.
Wow.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. Like the prosecutor, I forgot what they call him, but basically the one that they give you, he didn't buy his own. No, he didn't purchase his own lawyer or pay for his own lawyer. They gave him one. Yeah.
And it seems like one of the biggest things that they want to do is have people plead guilty for a lower sentence, plead guilty for this, plead guilty for that. One of the things that I found is that a lot of people are telling my husband, just go ahead on and tell him that you did it, and so you can get out your parole hearing, But I told my husband, you just pray about it. You know, you'll know what to say in time. Just pray about it, because this system is not set up to love us. And when I say us, one of the things I found out is that it's not just people who look like us that are locked behind bars and that are going through injustice. There's not just people who look like us. There's people of all kind of, you know, backgrounds, all kind of cultures and races and creeds. It's all over. You know, and like I said earlier, this is all over the world. It's not just here. We've had people contact us from Bangladesh, you know, Asia, from West Africa, you know, China, Germany, Sweden, you know, all over the world. So it didn't just stay here. It went across the world, you know. And this is what's important. I'm glad that you're here, because I want people to know what your husband is going through, and all of the other people who are going through it as well. You know, could you please tell our audience again just where your husband is located again? What state is he in, and the name of the prison that he's at?
We're in Ohio, and he's in Warren County. It's more closer to the Cincinnati area, towards like Kings Island and Traders World. So, yeah, he's in Warren County. He was not originated, but he was previously in London. That's where he was in Level 1, which is in Ohio, too, also. And they moved him from London to 3 hours away from his home and people can visit, which was Toledo. That was the Level 4. Then they moved him to the Warren in Ohio, which is also in Ohio. And that's only 20 minutes away, and put him to a Level 3. And mind you, what was crazy was when they said he did this offense, they put him from a Level 1 all the way to a Level 4. Now they're trying to want to take steps there now and put him from a Level 4, 3, 2, 1, which is very, very unfair, I feel.
Right. Right. And I know we were talking about trying to get those videotapes of the crime that they said that he committed, and they wouldn't give them to you, and you couldn't get any information about them. And we're going to try to give you some solutions of how to get those tapes as well. You know, I know that it's a very frustrating situation. It's not easy, you know, and this is not going to be easy. You know, it's going to take persistence. It's going to take us really, really, really wanting to help each other. And that's the main thing, that we want to help each other.
Yes.
Really sorry about what happened.
Me and my husband.
Yes. Really sorry about what happened to your husband and what your husband is going through. But we're now connected because we both are going to have to give each other strength and encourage each other continuously. You know, I really appreciate the fact that you was willing to tell his story. You know, I think that it's bold and it's powerful, and we need for the whole world to hear that a lot of people are suffering. A lot of people are going through. And we want to be able to give them a voice and an opportunity to tell everybody what's happening to their loved ones. At this time, we're going to take another break. And when we come back, we're going to wrap up the show, you know, and just sort of kind of conclude where we at so people can know exactly what's going on again. And at this time, we're going to listen to My Life. And this is from United Hands. Go.
So many things going on inside my life. So many things I wish I can turn into right. See where I'm from, it's not that easy to survive. Every day another murder, another homicide. But I believe in me, and I believe I will succeed. I'm just another sister out here trying to make it. And being real, I'd rather die before I try to fake it. And I'ma keep reaching for my destination. It's gonna be hard cause the world is full of temptation. But I ain't scared cause my daddy taught me how to face it. And I'll be standing here ready for any situation. And I won't back down from nothing, that's a promise, baby. No, I won't back down from nothing, that's a promise, baby. And I'll be standing here ready for any situation. And I won't back down from nothing, that's a promise, baby. I love my homies to the hood and my closest to the street. I'm so me out this struggle shit. Make me a better woman. Help me get hella rich. So many things bringing joy inside my life. My hopes and dreams, I prayed about them every night. I made my mind up, I'm not gonna give up this time. I came too far to quit, won't stop until I'm satisfied. And I'ma keep the faith in me. The faith in me makes me believe that I can do anything I put my mind to. And I can be anything that is destined to me. And this young girl full of integrity. Got through perfection, y'all won't ever get the best of me. Intelligent, mama taught me how to be a lady. If it's relevant, then that's what I do. So I like my homies to the hood and my closest to the streets. I'm so tired of seeing cats. All I wanna see is peace. Lord, please, won't you take me out this struggle shit? Make me a better woman. Help me get hella rich. But still I thank the Lord for my blessings every day. Just to wake up in the morning, just to see my mama's face. Lord, please, won't you take me out this struggle shit? Make me a better woman. Help me get hella rich. Lord, please.
You are here listening to United Hands 613. I am Telsa, your host for tonight, and our special guest on tonight is Queen Shawnee. And she was telling the story of her husband and his journey while he's in Ohio State prisons. You know, it's just so sad, some of the things that we have listened to since my husband's video had posted to Facebook. And we just want to encourage everybody, you know, as my brother-in-law was saying, it doesn't matter what you can do, contact us. You know, and you can contact us at rawbutreal613@yahoo.com. That's rawbutreal613@yahoo.com. If you have a story, if you have a situation that you're going through, if you need some help, if you need some support, please contact us. You know, let us know so that we can find the right way to help you. Let's join together and create this movement and let it move and let it rock for all of us. Let's join together and make this work. I want to thank Maurice on tonight for please showing up. Definitely needed you here. So glad that you are. You know, we don't want to take anything, you know, of our own self. We need each other. And I just want to say thank you to both of you. Thank you so much, Shanice, for being so brave and so strong and not minding telling your husband's story. I really appreciate that.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for listening to all the viewers and listeners out there. Thanks for having me and listening.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And Maurice, would you like to close us out on tonight?
I just want to say that it's a bold move, Queen Shani, and my only suggestion is take what was spoken to heart and do the leg movements, because that will show your husband more than anything that you're really there for him when nobody else is there, because he can't do nothing. And that's the only thing we can give back. And from those footsteps, keep in contact with Tilsa, and let's build onto it and bring the right players a part of it. And then that's what will make everything that we're all striving to do effective. And them is my only last words of encouragement that I can leave with you. But thank you for being on the show and telling your story.
Thank you, definitely.
Thank you so much, everybody. Again, this is Raw But Real, new 613, new segment, United Hands 613. I have been your host on tonight, Telsa, and we had Queen Shawnee on our show tonight, and this is not the last we're going to hear from her, because we're going to follow her story. We're going to follow whatever's happening with her, we're going to follow that. And thank you so much again, my dear, wonderful brother-in-law. Really appreciate you all. And thank you all for listening. We truly appreciate it. So right now, our last song and our closeout, we're going to end this with The Boatman, Do You Remember Me?
Here I sit all alone, wondering what went wrong. It's so hard to believe that you're not here with me. I really missed my chance. It's so hard to understand, but now I'm wondering, would you let me try again? Do you remember me? Do you still think of me? Am I the one you see at night? Every time you dream, am I the one you need? Or just a memory? Have you forgotten me? Or do you remember me? Oh, what do I do? What do I say? Will it ever be the same? How could I let you walk away after all the love we made? Without you in my life, I feel emptiness inside. Now I'd do anything to look inside your eyes. Oh, do you remember me? Do you still think of me? Am I the one you see at night? Every time you dream, am I the one you need? Or just a memory? Have you forgotten me? Baby, do you remember me? Yeah. I'll do anything to make you understand. Oh, that I'll never break your heart again. And I promise you, my love will never change. Oh, tell me, baby, do you feel the same? Do you remember me? Do you still think of me? Am I the one you see at night? Every time you dream, am I the one you need? Or just a memory? Have you forgotten me? Oh, baby, were we meant to be? I'm done on bended knees. Please say that you remember me.
You have tuned in to United Hands 613 on Raw But Real. Thank you so much to all of our listeners. Have a good night.